Welcome to the Missing Witches Reparations Fundraiser 2026 podcast series, part 4, with Jenn Luxmore-Begin. Jenn Luxmore-Begin is a creative, a musician, an educator, settler Anishinaabe woman with roots in Matagami First Nations. As an educator and facilitator of women's circles and drumming, Jenn works to create community, connection, and embodiment of culture in everyday life. She is a sister in the Indigenous women's collective Grandmother's Voice, and you can join the Missing Witches Reparations fundraiser by making a donation to Grandmother's Voice at grandmothersvoice.com. Jenn is also the creator of the 13 Moons of Creation lunar calendar and planner. Join the Missing Witches Reparations fundraiser today. Make a donation of $10 or more to your local Native women's shelter or any Indigenous-run support organization, Water Protectors, Grandmother's Voice. Take a screenshot or forward your receipt to witchreparations@gmail.com and you'll be entered to win one of more than 25 amazing prizes. And everyone who donates automatically receives discount codes from some of our favorite witchy businesses. Go to missingwitches.com/reparations for all you need to know.
You aren't being a proper woman, therefore you must be a witch. You must be a witch.
Hi, Coven, and welcome to another episode of the Missing Witches podcast. And thank you so much, Jenn, for sitting down with me, for helping us promote and reflect on our reparations fundraiser. I know that you have a lot of organizations that you want to boost and rep, but first, since this is your first time on the Missing Witches podcast, get to know us and let us get to know you. What do you want our listeners to know about you right off the top?
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and very humbled to be asked to be on your podcast and part of the coven. I am Jenn Luxmore-Begin. I am a very proud member of Matagami First Nation. I have Scottish, French, and Anishinaabe lineage. My spirit name is Nimki, which means Thunder Woman. And I come from my mother's waters, as well as I grew up around the waters of Lake Superior near Thunder Bay, Ontario. And I have lived in Mississauga on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit for, I would say, maybe 37-ish years. And here in Mississauga, I teach music, kindergarten to grade 5 music. I've been a music teacher for over 20 years. And it is one of my passions. And one of the ways that I can make magic in my everyday life is by creating music with children. And I am a creatrix. I am an artist who infuses medicine and magic into my creations. I am a bead worker. I love to work in a sustainable, eco-conscious, eco-friendly way. So most of my materials are actually upcycled or maybe someone's stash that love to collect and purchase and buy materials and they can't possibly use them all. I am a person who can and has a community and I've had a little artist collective of teachers who love to create, and mainly we love to play. That's a big part of my creative practice, is the idea of play and exploration. So often when I start projects or I'm playing around, I don't always know really what they're for or where they're going. I just follow that energy. And that took a little while to kind of work out. And sometimes I still get caught up in myself questioning why I want to do things. And so now I just go with it. It's spirit, it's my intuition, it's my ancestors. So yeah, I do a lot of different things. And I'm so honored to be here. One of the main things I've been working on in the last couple of years, and I know that's why we're connecting tonight, is 13 Moons of Creation. That is a passion project, but also a project that came from my dreams, from my visions, from my grandmothers who um, shared that knowledge with me and who planted that seed of visioning a different way of seeing time, actually reclaiming an old way of seeing time, but creating a tool that allows us to bring it into this world, into this time. And so, yeah, I do a lot of different things, and I'm just honored to be here, miigwech.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here and shout out Amy Miranda for the introduction. I got one of your calendars through Amy Miranda. Thanks again, Amy. And it's so beautiful. The layout of it is so interesting. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that project before we dive into philosophy?
Sure, sure. So 13 Moons of Creation is a lunar calendar and planner. And it's a little bit different than many calendars that you can find that highlight our Anishinaabe moons. So for many years, I would like the reason that I created it was that I always have a planner. I'm a planner girl. I would make my own planners, like using other old books, and I really love that creation process. But one of the things that I was noticing as I started to reclaim my Indigenous lineage, my Indigenous ways of knowing, was attending full moon ceremonies. That's a really important part of our grounding as women. And so I was using the regular Gregorian calendar and I would mark my moons in, but it really wasn't the same. I would lose where the new moon was. I kind of didn't I didn't like how the moons mixed with that Gregorian calendar. And so I started in 2023. I was looking around, I searched the internet high and low for a lunar calendar. Is there any calendar from anywhere that I can buy that starts on the new moon and then goes to full moon and ends kind of at the point we're almost at now, we just were, where we're coming up to a new moon. So like a 28-day calendar that still included January, February, because that's important. We need those dates, right? But I want to flip the calendar when it's the new moon. That's when I want to welcome new energy. And so I couldn't find one. So that's why I created it. And um and so the first year I made one just for myself. I like Mod Podge did all my things and made it really creative. And I really learned some things about marking our calendars and just figuring out how the layout might work best. And I would bring my calendar out to events and people would ask me about it and they would be like, wow, that's really interesting. That's really neat. I would like one of those. So then, luckily enough, one of the organizations that I am a part of is Grandmother's Voice, which is an organization that we follow and uplift the voices of our grandmothers from 6 nations. And we support them in any way we can. We want to make sure they're taken care of. And through that organization, I was able to get my planner published, and I was helped by Indigenous Reflections, which is a 100% Canadian Indigenous owned publishing company. And from there, we did a 2025 calendar. You have my 2026 calendar, and the 2027 calendar is currently being worked on. Everything is handed into the graphic designer at the publishing house, and I'm hoping that it will be ready to order in September, this September coming. Um, and so you can purchase a lot of calendars that have our different moon names on it. But my calendar is unique in that it kind of, well, it starts on a new moon and encompasses that 28-day energy. Um, and and what I also would say about my calendar is that my calendar is based on the Anishinaabe moons of central and southern Ontario. So my grandmother is from Wakemekong First Nation, Nipissing First Nation. They are the ones whose teachings guide the ceremonies that I do and the moons that I honor. But these moons change from nation to nation and from place to place because our moons are based on the energy of the earth, what is going on with the plants and the animals and all our relations. And for me, I see it as it outlines our responsibility to the earth during that moon. And not only our responsibility, but I also believe that if we can align our own energy with the energy that Mother Earth is wishing for to happen, then wouldn't that be a beautiful thing to align with? Isn't Grandmother Moon's and Mother Earth's energy? What a divine feminine way of living and following time. And so um, one of the things that people can also do is if they like my calendar, of course they can purchase it, but also knowing that where you live in Quebec or Saskatchewan or anywhere else in the world, there are probably moon teachings and moon names that are associated with the nations that live there. And so it's also an invitation for you to find out what is the land where you live doing? Right now it's flower moon here, or sorry, strawberry moon, sorry, just finished flower moon to strawberry moon. But I know that my Anishinaabe relatives who live much farther up north have a different name for this moon and have different responsibilities to the land. And so, um, yeah, I love my calendar. I'm really proud of it. Um, I think it's a beautiful tool to bridge two worlds, right? A lot of us want to live in this cyclical energy. A lot of us, we really love Grandmother Moon. We love to think about her phases and connect it to our own phases. And so this is an offering that people can purchase or live into. And yeah, so that's 13 Moons of Creation.
Talk a bit more about this idea of new moons being both instructional and invitational.
New moons. Well, on that beautiful new moon is when we start to live into the energy of of the next phase of this moon. So the new moon is an invitation to plant some seeds for the next 28 days, right? Grandmother Moon is dark at this time. She's in her own space. She's in her own darkness. And it's good. And she likes it. And she needs it. Just like we all need time to go inward, to reflect, to take some deep breaths and see kind of what is this next energy going to hold for us. And so in a new moon, it's a beautiful time to set some intentions. Often I think about around the energy that you want to embody. For me, I have to really be very conscious that I don't just set goals because as a teacher and an A-type personality, I can get very easily into let's get all these things done. That's not what it's about. For me, anyways. And so, for example, right now we're going into Strawberry Moon. And so this is an invitation for us to start to think about the medicine of this time and the teachings of this time. And the Strawberry Moon is our Heartberry Moon. And it is all about love, love of self, love of community. It is a time when we would be welcoming our ancestors, or not our ancestors, all our relatives home. And regardless of differences, this is a time to feast. It's a time to put our judgments aside and the community would come back together. We would have finished all our like some of our early spring harvesting, maybe some of our fishing, getting our food supplies up as, the winter had finished. And so this is a time when we would welcome all our relatives home. And and so we can start to think about these things for the next 28 days. The other beautiful thing I love about Strawberry Moon, and it's actually, I believe, many people's favorite moons, because strawberries, it's the first berry of the season. And in my Anishinaabe moon knowing, we have our strawberry moon, Ode'miin Giizis, then we have raspberry moon, and then we have blackberry moon. So the berries are very, very celebrated in Indigenous culture. And so um, the strawberry is the shape of our heart when cut in half. The strawberry is also the shape of our womb space, both if we have a womb or the womb that we came from. And that just reminds us of our sacredness as women. And it is a beautiful reminder. I always tell people, strawberries are a part of our full moon ceremonies, our water ceremonies, pretty much every ceremony, we have those beautiful berries. And at this time, reminding ourselves that every time we eat a strawberry, take a second and just appreciate that love. And maybe that time that you are having a strawberry, you really need to feel that love. And so, just a reminder that those strawberries were a gift from Creator for us to remember this. And so many of us know that wild strawberries, you can see all the roots and like the little flowers are coming and all of the runners are connecting. And now those connections always remind us of all the connections that are so important in our lives. And so even though some people are farther down on our connections, they're still connected to us. Even though some of our relatives, like our other relatives, other than human relatives, um, that we're still all connected. And so at the new moon, I like to think about the teachings of that moon as I set my intentions. And yeah, and so the new moon is definitely the beginning of a new cycle. And so it can remind us that we live in cyclical energy. We are not on a linear path. This future is not predetermined. We don't have to keep moving in this line, that we have this cycle. And just like Grandmother Moon on the new moon, this is a reminder that we too, like I said before, need time and space as women, but also as people, for all of us. And so to reclaim the idea of living in a cycle, not only a 28-day cycle, a daily cycle, a 13 moon cycle, what power that has. What power that has to build on the ways that we show up, but also I think it can be a good reminder that things are always changing and shifting. Grandmother Moon's always changing. Grandfather Sun, his light changes, right? It reflects more, it reflects less. And so we too need to remember that our own energy changes, other people's energy changes. And sometimes I think our resistance to change is sometimes the hardest part. We make it hard for ourselves when we fight the change, when we resist the change. And so the last thing I'll say about that is I will often tell people we can choose the frequency and the energy that we live into to a certain extent, right? So I live in a September to June energy as a music educator. And, in a way, for teachers, I never left school. I never left that September to June energy. And I'm sure many people feel that way. But, I could also live into the Costco energy of when's the next, Halloween comes in August and, Christmas starts in November. And I can live in that energy and I can mark my time by those cycles. Or I can mark my time by the cycle of Grandmother Moon. I can find small ways in my everyday life to bring in that reminder of that she is our grandmother. She is here to take care of us. And Grandmother Gail Whitlow from Six Nations, who is always so beautiful in ceremony and every day. She reminds us that, when we have something heavy to hold, we can always go and talk to our grandmother, the moon. She's always there. And what a reassurance, what a beautiful feeling that she is so steady. Her and Miss Giizis, they are beautiful partners, right? They have that rhythm. And can we find our rhythm within that? Like, let's all dance in that rhythm, you know? So, yeah.
The Costco thing too, I mean, like every month through the summer has its berry. But the Costco mentality, this like late stage capitalism mentality, I want all the berries at once. I want a berry salad. But like both the moon and the berries are telling us like one thing at a time, one thing at a
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
change slowly. I have to change track a little bit though, because you, as you said, are a music teacher and I am a sonic witch. So I
Hmm.
am always super enthusiastic to gather as many perspectives as possible on this question of How is music magic? How is music a healer? How is music divine? I'm just going to open that up to you. Just speak forever. Speak. And then when you think you've said too much on the subject, tell me a little bit more about what you think and
Mm.
feel.
Music is medicine. It's such medicine. And um, I'm sure you're aware of Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water consciousness, and he played different music frequencies. Not that we need a scientist to prove what we already know is true, but one of the things that he did was he tested different sound frequencies, and water reacted to that frequency, and it made beautiful shapes in all different uh, that the what would you call it? At the very smallest, microscopic level, we could see those changes. And so, yes, that's the science behind it. But I also know from my elders, from my grandmothers, and just from my own body and my own being, that when we sing with ourselves, we activate so many things. Our vagus nerve, that's again science. It tells us to our rest and relax, our rest and release comes up as soon as we hum, as soon as we even listen to music, all of that gets activated. And so music is medicine in that way. Um, I know music has the power to transform our energies. It's a form of self-expression. And one of the things I do in addition to many others, is I volunteer at a hospice once a month and I run a session called Music is Medicine. And in this session, we often will take a very simple song and rewrite the lyrics so that people can get their thoughts, their expression, their grievances, but any of their feelings out, and often their gratitude. We always try to steer it towards that. But music is powerful in that way, and it can take us to a place, it can take us out of a place. And I mean, making music with young children is a whole other level. For years, I used to kind of not laugh, but I would kind of think, I don't know why all these retired music teachers keep having children's choirs when they're done. Like, isn't that so funny that, all of the children's choirs are always run by music teachers? And now I know. Because as I go into my last 4 years of teaching, and nearing a beautiful privilege of being able to retire, every choir, every performance I do, I think about the magic that we're making. I am so grateful. The power that I feel, the power that I feel when all I do is lift my hands and 95 children rise. And with this, like, it's almost like, look at my hands. I'm casting a spell. I'm like, okay, sing, right? And and they do it so joyously. And I always have to tell them, you know, tears are always right behind my eyes, and they're often very joyful. And I cry a lot in gratitude. So I always tell my students, if I start crying, it's never because I'm like sad. It's never because I'm upset with you. It's because you are touching me, and what we are doing together is such synergy. It's such, we are medicine to the people that we are singing to your parents, to your grandparents. So I talk a lot about how they are medicine, children are medicine, but music is medicine. And and yeah, it can take us out of places maybe that our minds are keeping us. Um, I find at school when we start playing, especially a lot of the kids love to play the ukulele, and we are getting pretty good. We've got 4 chords down pretty solidly, and if you do, you can do a lot of songs with that.
You could do a lot with 4 chords.
Uh-huh. And so that is really magical to see that they have figured out, like to watch them from a very young age, from kindergarten, they just hold it. Grade one, but to see them take a song and actually be able to play it. I mean, I know that feeling, right? It's such a good feeling when you're like, yes, I could do these chords at the right time. But coming back from from my students and thinking again about the power of music in ceremony and the power of music in connecting with our ancestors. You know, that's one of the reasons that we sing a lot of songs when we have our ceremonies. Um, we tell everybody to sing, even if you don't think you know all the words. And um, like, for example, this morning we were at water ceremony for the Credit River Water Walk, and it's an early morning ceremony. So it's a beautiful time to lift our voices and sing. And we always sing the Nibe water song. That's a song for healing the water and expressing our gratitude to it. And when we sing, it birds start always coming. Sometimes the geese will just start singing with us. This morning we had an eagle that flew kind of around our ceremony, and that's always a huge blessing. And then we sang the eagle song. Um, and there's just an energy in music. It especially collective music making. Collective music making too, where we're not so worried about getting the words right and the pitch right. You know, when you can really feel into that, that's really powerful. And you know, in one of the teachings around our Wagon, our drum, is that that is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And when we hear that drum beat, especially if we heard like a, you know, like we've got a, you know, when we hear those drum beats, we are told that that is one of the reasons it pulls us so much. One of the reasons it reaches us so much is because those were the first sounds that we heard in our mother's womb, our mother's heartbeat, right? And it's very interesting when you go to ceremony and there are people who have never drummed or been around a drum before. They have very, very big reactions to it. It will often bring people to tears, and then they don't understand why. Well, that's why, because it's touching such a deep part of us. And there's a reason why drums are a main instrument in cultures all over the world, right? It connects all of us in that way. And so that one heartbeat beating with along with Mother Earth is can be very powerful medicine.
Can you bang just a few more bars for us? I think I recognize that. Is that Strong Woman song?
It is. It is. Strong Woman song, written in the Kingston Penitentiary by Indigenous women. They would drum this song through the night to keep their sisters' spirits alive. And now this song is, you know, sung and drummed all over Turtle Island, probably all over the world.
Yeah. I mean, it made it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's return before I let you go. Once again, listeners, this episode, this interview with Jenn is part of the Missing Witches annual, 6th annual reparations fundraiser. Jenn, I know you have a few organizations that you want to spotlight, so I will rapid fire and you tell me what the organization is. Grandmother's Voice.
Grandmother's Voice is a community-led Indigenous collective. We listen to the voices of the grandmothers from 6 nations, and we uplift and amplify their messages.
And of course, listeners, I'll put all the links in the show notes on the website. I'll link them on social. You'll see, don't worry. Credit River Water Walk. Credit River Water Walk.
Credit River Water Walk is a walking ceremony for water. It is in the footsteps of grandmother Josephine Mandamin Ba, who was the first water walker in 2003. She started walking around the Great Lakes when, in the lodge, her elder asked all of the people there, he told them that there was a prophecy that in the year 2030, an ounce of water will cost more than an ounce of gold. What will you do about it? And Josephine, a grandmother at the time, she thought, what else can I do but walk? People drive by the water and they see the water polluted and they don't notice it. Maybe they will notice a bunch of grandmothers walking on the side of the road with an eagle staff and a copper pail. And then for many years, she led walks all across Turtle Island. She brought waters from all the four directions. And now Medewin women lead water walks around Turtle Island. And the Credit River Water Walk is led by Marianne Cabiosi. This is our fourth year. And the funds that go towards our water walk are used for covering food for the walk, mileage for the elders that come to support our walk, and that type of thing.
And that's creditriverwalk.com.
Yeah.
And the last one,
Andayan?
Ondayon Inc. Tell me about Ondayon Inc.
Andayan is the word for home in the Anishinaabe language. And this is the first Indigenous women's shelter created in Canada, and it was created by four grandmothers. And I believe it started in the 70s, and they still do really important work in Toronto, being a shelter for women and children and helping them get back on their feet and supporting them. And I've done a couple of fundraisers when I've made different earrings and sold them to support Andayan. So they're a beautiful cause as well.
And once again, listeners, I'll put the links to these organizations everywhere so you won't miss them. Now, how can our listeners get their hands on your work?
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Well, the 2026 calendar and planner are still available from Indigenous Reflections, and it's called 13 Moons of Creation. And one thing that I might like to mention about that is that I run my 13 Moons of Creation as a social enterprise, so that all of the funds that I receive from any royalties of my calendars are used to purchase calendars and are gifted to my grandmothers and their communities. So this year I've been able to gift over 200 planners and calendars to various Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee grandmothers and sisters and aunties. And I think that's such a wonderful thing. I'm really excited about that. And if you also want to find me, I'm on Instagram at 13 Moons of Creation. And you could follow my creative explorations. I've got lots of little things I love to dye with different inks that I create, and I do a lot of beadwork. So I'd love to see you there. And in 2027, the 2027 calendar should be out hopefully in the fall. Miigwech.
Well, don't worry, Kevin. We will keep you posted on all of that. Any parting words, any message for the Missing Witches Coven during this reparations season?
I just want to say a huge Gachimi. It's so important that we repair the relationships that have been broken here on Turtle Island. And there's a lot of people who talk the talk around honoring Indigenous ways of knowing and being true partners. But I really feel like the reparations project is a unique offering and is a really powerful teacher. And I applaud you for being leaders in this. And just, yeah, thank you to all people who are donating. And it's just a really important thing to do.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, so much of the idea of it is like, it never occurred to us to start a foundation and then, take an administrative fee. Like, we want you to go into your actual local neighborhood, because there are so many First Nations people, Indigenous people already doing this work.
Exactly.
So let's just fund that revolution instead of trying to, show up at the picnic and you didn't ask what to bring. And so you show up
Mhm.
with the 100th potato salad. But if you had called ahead to the picnic and said, what could I bring?
Mhm.
They might have said, you know,
And one of the things that I love to do, I recently finished some moontime buntings that are kind of a teaching for young girls when they first get their moontime about the beauty and power of Grandmother Moon's phases. And my vision for that is to say to folks, you know, whatever the cost is, donate that to Andayan, donate that to a cause that you like. Sometimes I'll make beaded poppies. And so people will purchase them and they will donate directly to the Indigenous Veterans Fund. It doesn't need to come through me. And they are already doing the work. So I totally agree with you and I love that.
and I love you. It's been such a joy to meet you. I'm so excited to see what this fruiting body of ours
Mhm.
fruits
Oh, and I should
together.
say one more thing if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
of
I forgot
course.
about my Moonly meetups. So on every new moon, I offer something on Zoom called a Moonly meetup. And you can find the information on my Instagram, or you can email 13moonsofcreation@gmail.com to get on the mailing list. But this is a free offering where I talk about the energy of Grandmother Moon. Different people come on and they might offer their energy for if it's a Taurus new moon, or some people will pull an oracle card, and we'll kind of bring all our energy and teachings around this next moon together. We have some time to create, and then we'll just do some sharing. So it's just a way to share our practices and to anchor ourselves into that new moon energy. And it's a free community offering. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Jen. And blessed fucking be.
Mm-hmm.
You must be a witch.
Join the Missing Witches Reparations fundraiser today. Make a donation of $10 or more to your local Native women's shelter or any Indigenous run support organization, Water Protectors, Grandmother's Voice. Take a screenshot or forward your receipt to witchreparations@gmail.com and you'll be entered to win one of more than 25 amazing prizes. And everyone who donates automatically receives discount codes from some of our favorite witchy businesses. Go to missingwitches.com/reparations for all you need to know.